Have you ever imagined that tiny tomatoes could transform a farmer's entire life? Picture thousands of families once trapped in poverty, where every day was a fight to afford rice, and then, in just 2 years, over 5,000 people broke free from hardship thanks to an idea no one saw coming. What sparked this miracle? The secret lies with Captain Traoré, a man bold enough to dream big and act even bigger. I heard the story from Musa, a farmer who once sold tomatoes for pennies, and now he beams with pride talking about his new home. Is this a miracle from barren fields or a crazy business strategy? Join me to unveil the mystery. Dive into this unbelievable turnaround right now. You won't believe what's coming next. Have you ever wondered what life is like in a parched land, where even hope seems scorched by the sun? Picture Burkina Faso, a nation deep in Africa's heart, where cracked soil and erratic harvests paint a grim picture. Every day was a battle for survival, with hot winds sweeping through dusty, fissured fields, carrying despair along with the red dust. Among them was Musa, a humble man with calloused hands, who spent his life tending to stunted tomato fields, praying they'd one day yield enough to feed his small family. But the reality was far harsher. Those tiny tomatoes rarely traded for a full meal, trapping him, and thousands like him, in a relentless cycle of poverty and helplessness. Imagine Musa stepping onto his field at dawn, the sky still hazy, the first rays of sun just beginning to glow. He carried an old bucket, worn-out sandals, and a heart full of determination mixed with worry. His tomatoes, with their sparse red fruits, looked like faint embers amid a sea of dry earth. Each day, he trudged hundreds of meters to a small well to fetch water, hoping they'd grow despite knowing the dry season ahead would steal most of his crop. To me, this is an emotional sight, a lone man battling nature's cruelty, clinging to a fragile hope that life might improve. But those fields weren't just his workplace. They were a testament to a community's resilience, where every farmer carried a similar tale. Thousands of Musas, scattered across Sahel's small villages, faced the same plight: infertile land, scarce water, and market prices too low to sustain them. This backdrop isn't just about soil or weather. It reflects a deeper social truth. Back then, over 80% of Burkina Faso's population depended on agriculture, yet most products like tomatoes were sold raw at rock-bottom prices to foreign traders. Farmers like Musa had no control over the value chain. They planted, they harvested, but the profits flowed outward, leaving them with meager earnings and mounting debts. I once read a FAO report stating that over 40% of farmers in this region lived below the poverty line. And that's not just a statistic. It's a human struggle. Every time I think of the kids in Musa's village dropping out of school to help their families farm, or the tired eyes of mothers tending smoky fires, I feel a pang of sorrow. It's a life many outside can't fathom, yet it was their daily reality. On top of that, climate change worsened their plight. Rainy seasons grew shorter and rarer, while rising temperatures made the land increasingly barren. Some years, Musa lost 70% of his harvest to drought, and he once shared how his family went hungry for days when there was nothing left to sell. Stories like his aren't unique. They echo the voices of thousands of farmers who've grown accustomed to setbacks, yet refuse to give up. I find that admirable. Their grit against adversity is something anyone can learn from. But it also raises a big question. Could someone break this vicious cycle? Was there a glimmer of hope amid those arid fields? This is the start of a journey you'll want to follow to the end, a tale of an unimaginable transformation waiting ahead. Have you ever wondered how a farmer's day unfolds in the grip of poverty? Picture an early morning, the night still lingering, as Musa quietly steps out of his simple straw hut, his shoulders heavy with exhaustion yet forced to rise. He carries a rusty bucket, sandals worn to near nothing, and a heart mixed with fragile hope and constant worry. That's the start of a long day, where every moment is a fight to survive. In Burkina Faso's arid lands, life for Musa and thousands of other farmers wasn't just work. It was a repetitive cycle of resignation and futile effort. Every day, Musa woke at 4 a.m., the sky cloaked in mist, the distant crow of a rooster breaking the silence. He trudged to his tomato field, where his plants sprouted sparsely amid cracked earth, looking like tiny warriors clinging to life against nature's might. With calloused hands, he carefully watered each precious drop from a well hundreds of meters away, his footsteps heavy with the weight of family burdens. Yet, even with all that labor, he knew the looming dry season would steal most of his crop, leaving him with ripe tomatoes that fetched little value. To me, this is a haunting image, a man battling not just the land, but the unfairness of his circumstances. I once heard him say there were days he ate just one meal, often thin corn porridge, and sometimes his whole family went hungry when there was nothing left to sell. Musa's life wasn't just his own story. It mirrored an entire community's reality. Thousands of farmers in his village faced the same endless loop. They rose early, worked under the blistering sun until noon, then returned home with sunburned hands and weary souls. The women, like Aicha, Musa's neighbor, sat by smoky fires cooking with scant ingredients, while kids ran around barefoot with vacant eyes. I once met a mother in the village who told me her son quit school at 12 to help on the farm, and that choked me up. This life wasn't just material poverty. It was a poverty of opportunity, where the dreams of the next generation were buried under the weight of survival. Each day after harvesting, Musa hauled his crates of tomatoes to the local market, where foreign traders waited to buy them at a pittance, 500 CFA francs per crate. With that, he could afford a small bag of rice or a bit of cooking oil, and sometimes he borrowed to cover basics like medicine for his sick kids. I find that deeply unfair, a man sweating blood on his fields, yet reaping no worthy reward. Those traders arrived with big trucks, hauling tons of raw tomatoes for processing elsewhere, leaving farmers with empty hands. A FAO report noted that over 60% of agricultural profits in this region went to middlemen, explaining why Musa's family lived in perpetual want despite their relentless work. On top of that, family and community pressure made Musa's life even heavier. He had 3 children, and village elders often cast judgmental glances his way when crops failed, as if it were his fault. Once, he shared how his wife cried all night over not affording books for their kids, leaving him feeling like a failure. I get that feeling. It's not just financial strain, but an emotional burden, where a man's pride is tested daily. The village kids, like Musa's son, often skipped school to help out, and I can't help but think they deserved classrooms and dreams of a brighter future instead of hoes in the fields. Yet despite this, Musa and his fellow farmers never gave up. They kept planting, kept hoping, though each day mirrored the last, a string of grueling work with fragile outcomes. I see in them a hidden strength, a will to survive that not everyone possesses. Still, the big question lingers. Could this life change? Could someone bring a ray of hope to these people? This is a crucial chapter in a journey you won't want to miss, a story of resilience before everything transforms forever. Have you ever wondered if a ray of hope could pierce through barren fields and dead-end lives? Picture a quiet morning in Burkina Faso, the sun just rising, the air still carrying a hint of dawn's chill. While Musa and other farmers bustled in their fields, a strange figure appeared. Captain Traoré, a man with steely eyes and a commanding voice. He stepped out of a dusty truck, a crumpled map in hand, and began addressing the crowd gathering around him. Could this be the one to change it all? To me, it felt like a movie scene, a hero arriving just in time to save a desperate community. Traoré wasn't a stranger to this land. He'd been a military officer, witnessing firsthand the struggles of its people for years. But what set him apart was that he didn't just watch, he acted. In his first speech, he declared, "We can't keep living like beggars on our own soil. We have tomatoes, we have strength. Let's turn them into our future." Those words struck like lightning in a dark sky, awakening souls accustomed to failure. I think that was the moment everything began to shift. A bold idea planted amid despair. Traoré's plan wasn't simple. He proposed building a tomato processing plant right in the village, one the people would manage and profit from themselves. At first, folks doubted it. How could a poor community like theirs afford it or gain the skills? But Traoré didn't back down. He went door to door, meeting families, listening to their stories and asking for contributions, even a few hundred CFA francs from the poorest. I find that astonishing. A leader who doesn't just command but walks alongside, turning skepticism into belief. Moussa once shared how he brought his whole family to meet Traoré, and even his wife, who trusted no one, was won over by the man's sincerity. The preparation process was no walk in the park. Traoré held village meetings under a grand tree, sketching the plant's layout on the ground with a stick and explaining how they could turn tomatoes into sauces, powders, and even exports. He brought in volunteer engineers from the city, willing to share knowledge for free. I see that as a smart move. Traoré didn't rely solely on himself, but linked the community to outside resources. Yet, not everyone was on board. Local traders, who thrived on buying raw tomatoes cheap, fiercely opposed it, threatening to boycott purchases if the plant was built. That made many farmers hesitate, fearing the loss of their meager income. Still, Traoré pressed on. He organized open discussions, heard opposing views, and offered a solution. They'd start small with a simple plant, expanding with profits. I admire his rare patience, a quality every leader needs. Moussa, who'd watched from afar at first, slowly got drawn in. He recalled an evening by the fire when Traoré said, "If we don't do this, who will? Our children's future waits here." Those words ignited a spark in everyone, and from then on, they began believing the impossible could happen. Raising funds was another inspiring chapter. Traoré didn't just seek cash, he encouraged contributions of labor, materials, or even land. An elderly woman, Fatoumata, donated a small plot she'd kept since youth, saying, "I can't farm anymore, but I want my grandkids to have a chance." That moved me deeply, a small act carrying immense hope. With such efforts, the initial fund took shape, though it started modest. Traoré also reached out to an NGO for technical aid, and eventually they had enough to break ground. But the journey wasn't smooth. Some days, Traoré faced exhaustion and doubt from his own people. A few farmers called him a dreamer and walked out mid-meeting. Yet, he persisted, kept talking, kept persuading, until support grew. I think this proved that leadership isn't just ideas, but the ability to inspire and stand firm. Moussa, once the biggest skeptic, finally joined, bringing his first crate of tomatoes to support the project. That was a sign a big change was near, a turning point you'll want to follow to the end. Have you ever wondered what happens when a bold idea turns into action? Picture Moussa and hundreds of other village farmers gathering under Captain Traoré's guidance, their eyes a mix of curiosity, worry, and budding hope. That was the moment everything started moving. A project once deemed impossible now taking shape. Traoré didn't just rally them. He dove in, becoming the first teacher for farmers unfamiliar with processing techniques. Could this be the turning point for a massive change? To me, this was when a community began rewriting its own story, and you'll want to catch every detail. From the outset, Traoré organized hands-on training right in the fields. He brought simple tools like small steamers and hand grinders, teaching Moussa and others how to slice, boil, and process tomatoes into sauces and powders. At first, it was clumsy. Some burned pots, others spilled ingredients, and laughter mingled with sighs echoed around. But Traoré was patient, moving between groups, correcting mistakes, and even demonstrating himself to show it was doable. I find that admirable. A leader who doesn't just propose ideas, but works alongside the people. Moussa recalled how Traoré stayed until midnight helping a group finish their first sauce batch, making him feel less alone. Traoré's efforts went beyond skills. He built a cooperative system among farmers. He divided the village into small teams, each handling a process. Some harvested, some transported, others learned packaging. This boosted efficiency and, more importantly, fostered a sense of unity never seen before. I think that was a clever strategy. Traoré taught them not just to work, but to work together. Aisha, a villager, told me she felt like part of a bigger family, united by a common goal for the first time. The first impact came when they sold their initial processed batch, skyrocketing the value from 500 CFA francs per crate to 2,500 CFA francs, 5 times more. This shift wasn't just about money. It brought hope to the community. Musa started earning enough to buy fertilizer, improve his fields, and even re-enroll his son in school. I was moved hearing him say the boy smiled holding his first book after years away. But it wasn't all smooth. Some farmers struggled with the new tasks, and a few quit, finding it too hard. Traoré faced criticism, yet he encouraged them to try again, saying, "Every failure brings us closer to success." I see in him a remarkable steadfastness, a quality anyone can learn from. The biggest outcome was the village's economic growth. With profits, they built storage sheds and bought basic machines to boost production. Traoré connected with nearby markets, and the first export to Mali brought significant returns. I believe this proves the power of collective action. A once-forgotten community now competes on the economic map. Musa grinned. "Thanks to Traoré, my tomatoes aren't a burden, but a treasure." That statement affirmed the change, convincing me that with enough determination, anyone can make a difference. Yet, not everyone was happy. Local traders, who lost their cheap tomato supply, pressured the village, even spreading rumors the plant would collapse. Traoré held meetings to explain, reassure, and prove self-reliance was possible. I find that challenging, a leader building and defending a dream simultaneously. Still, community support grew, and subsequent exports solidified their confidence. Aisha shared how she bought her son a bike with her earnings, a small joy that touched me deeply. This journey also taught valuable lessons. Traoré showed that teamwork boosts efficiency and builds bonds. Musa learned time management, balancing farming and processing, eventually becoming a team leader. I think that's an incredible growth, from a mere farmer to a skilled, confident individual. The ripple effect brought hope across the village, where kids' laughter and new homes rising testified to the change. But the question remains, where will this lead? Stick around to explore the next steps in this journey. Have you ever wondered how a small project could transform an entire region and the lives of thousands? Picture Musa's village at dusk, golden sunlight bathing new homes, children's laughter echoing from playgrounds, and the rich scent of processed tomatoes wafting from the factory. That's the scene today, August 4th, 2025, as the fruits of Captain Traoré's journey have blossomed into a vibrant reality. From a bold idea, the tomato processing plant has not only survived but thrived beyond expectations, ushering in a new future for a once desperate community. Could this be the pinnacle of an inspiring tale? To me, it's a living testament to the power of will and unity, and you'll want to dive into every moment. Until finally, the plant created 300 full-time jobs, turning farmers like Musa from manual laborers into proud workers with new skills. Production soared, with over 10,000 crates exported to Mali, Ghana, and even a small batch to Europe this year. Musa now owns a sturdy brick house and can send all 3 kids to school, a dream he once only had in sleep. I was touched hearing him say his eldest son, who'd quit school to farm, is now in 7th grade and aspires to be an engineer. This isn't just Musa's success, it's the village's, a change I believe anyone can emulate. The village economy transformed significantly. With plant profits, they invested in infrastructure, building a new school, modern storage, and even a deep well for year-round irrigation. Traoré, the mastermind, continues to lead but emphasizes this success belongs to all. In a recent interview, he said, "This isn't my dream alone, but ours." I see in him rare humility, a trait highlighting true leadership. Thanks to smart management, the plant now serves domestic needs and competes internationally, providing steady income for hundreds of families. But success came with lessons. The first was the value of cooperation. Traoré taught them that no one can do it alone. Each contribution, from labor to ideas, built collective strength. Musa, once the biggest skeptic, now manages production and says teamwork reshaped his outlook. I find that a profound lesson. A united community can overcome any obstacle. Aicha, once confined to cooking by the fire, now works in packaging, earning enough for a radio, a small joy that warmed my heart. The second lesson was perseverance. The plant faced setbacks, broken machines, market shifts, or harsh weather cutting yields. Yet Traoré urged them to focus on solutions, not problems. I admire that positivity. It guided them through dark days. When a cancelled export order stemmed from packaging errors, Traoré held an emergency training, and the team fixed it in 2 days. They not only saved the deal, but improved processes, convincing me perseverance is key to success. This journey also sparked deep social change. Village kids now get proper education, and women like Aicha join the workforce, breaking stereotypes of kitchen confinement. I feel proud seeing young girls dream of becoming engineers or entrepreneurs, not just farmers like their parents. Traoré promotes education, funding scholarships from plant profits, fostering a hopeful new generation. Aicha's son told me he wants to be like Uncle Traoré, making me smile, a legacy in the making. Yet it's not all perfect. Some local traders still pressure them, and the plant faces high operating costs. Traoré admits challenges lie ahead but believes the community is strong enough. I see this as a practical lesson. Success isn't an end but an ongoing journey. As I write this on August 4th, 2025, the plant prepares to launch organic tomato sauce, and the village's excitement is palpable. Ultimately, the biggest takeaway is self-belief. Traoré showed that even in the harshest conditions, people can change if they dare to dream and act. Musa concluded, Traoré didn't just save us from poverty, he showed us what we're capable of. I believe this is a message anyone, anywhere can apply. So, where will this lead next? Stick around to explore the journey ahead.
Cảm ơn bạn. Dựa trên thời gian hiện tại, 06:08 PM plus 7, thứ hai, ngày 04/08/2025, và tiêu đề Struggling Farmers, Traoré's Shock Tomato Turnaround. Mình sẽ viết payoff, fan kết, để kết thúc câu chuyện. Giữ độ dài khoảng 1.100 từ, khoảng 6-7 phút, khi nói với tốc độ 170 từ một phút, phù hợp với video trong 20 phút. Phần này sẽ tổng kết các điểm quan trọng, gợi ý cách áp dụng bài học và có CTA mạnh mẽ để khuyến khích tương tác với văn phong tự nhiên, hấp dẫn cho khán giả Mỹ. Mình sẽ viết bằng tiếng Việt trước, sau đó dịch sát nghĩa sang tiếng Anh, tập trung vào giá trị của câu chuyện và lời kêu gọi hành động.
Payoff Fanket.
Bạn có bao giờ tự hỏi một câu chuyện như thế này có thể thay đổi cách bạn nhìn nhận về cuộc sống và cộng đồng của mình không? Hãy nhìn lại hành trình mà chúng ta vừa trải qua, từ những cánh đồng khô cạn của Burkina Faso, nơi anh Musa và hàng ngàn nông dân từng sống trong cảnh đói nghèo, đến ngày hôm nay, 04/08/2025, khi làng của họ rực rỡ với những ngôi nhà mới, tiếng cười trẻ em, và nhà máy cà chua đang bừng sáng như một ngọn hải đăng của hy vọng. Captain Traoré không chỉ xây dựng một nhà máy, ông đã xây dựng một di sản, một minh chứng sống động rằng, ngay cả trong nghịch cảnh khắc nghiệt nhất, con người có thể tạo ra thay đổi nếu họ đoàn kết và kiên trì. Liệu bạn có sẵn sàng mang bài học này vào cuộc sống của mình? Theo tôi, đây là một câu chuyện không chỉ để kể lại, mà còn để hành động. Và bạn sẽ muốn khám phá cách áp dụng nó ngay bây giờ. Hãy cùng nhìn lại những điểm nổi bật của hành trình này. Trước hết, nhà máy chế biến cà chua đã tạo ra 300 việc làm, biến những người nông dân như anh Musa từ những người lao động tay chân thành những nhân viên có kỹ năng, kiệm thu nhập ổn định với giá trị sản phẩm tăng gấp 5 lần, từ 500 lên 2.500 franc CFA mỗi thùng. Kinh tế làng phát triển mạnh mẽ, với hơn 10.000 thùng xuất khẩu sang các nước lân cận và châu Âu, mang lại lợi nhuận đáng kể. Nhưng hơn thế, nó đã thay đổi xã hội, trẻ em quay lại trường học, phụ nữ như chị Aicha tham gia lực lượng lao động và một thế hệ mới bắt đầu mơ về tương lai tươi sáng. Tôi không khỏi tự hào khi thấy những cậu bé như con trai anh Musa, người từng nghỉ học để làm nông, giờ mơ trở thành kỹ sư, và những cô gái trẻ muốn trở thành nhà kinh doanh. Đây là những thành tựu mà Traoré đã khơi nguồn, nhưng ông luôn nhấn mạnh rằng thành công thuộc về cộng đồng, một bài học về sự khiêm nhường và hợp tác mà tôi tin rằng ai cũng có thể học hỏi. Bài học lớn nhất từ câu chuyện này là sức mạnh của đoàn kết và kiên trì. Traoré đã chứng minh rằng không ai có thể làm tất cả một mình. Mọi người trong làng, từ anh Musa với thùng cà chua đầu tiên đến bà Fatoumata với mảnh đất nhỏ, đều góp phần tạo nên kỳ tích. Sự kiên trì của ông, dù đối mặt với máy móc hỏng hóc hay áp lực từ thương nhân, đã truyền cảm hứng cho mọi người vượt qua khó khăn. Tôi nghĩ đây là điều mà bất kỳ cộng đồng nào, dù ở Mỹ hay bất kỳ đâu, có thể áp dụng. Bạn có thể bắt đầu bằng cách hợp tác với hàng xóm để giải quyết một vấn đề địa phương, có thể là làm sạch công viên hoặc hỗ trợ một dự án nhỏ. Chỉ cần một bước nhỏ, bạn có thể tạo ra làn sóng thay đổi lớn lao, giống như Traoré đã làm. Hơn nữa, câu chuyện này gợi ý cách chúng ta có thể biến nghịch cảnh thành cơ hội. Ở Burkina Faso, đất đai khô cằn từng là rào cản, nhưng Traoré đã biến cà chua thành tài sản, mở ra cánh cửa đến thị trường quốc tế. Bạn có thể áp dụng điều này trong cuộc sống. Hãy nhìn vào những thách thức của bạn, dù là tài chính hay cá nhân, và tìm cách biến chúng thành động lực. Tôi từng gặp khó khăn khi bắt đầu một dự án của riêng mình, nhưng bằng cách học hỏi và kiên nhẫn, tôi đã tìm thấy thành công. Traoré dạy chúng ta rằng không có giới hạn nào là tuyệt đối, chỉ cần bạn dám thử và không bỏ cuộc. Nhưng câu hỏi đặt ra là, làm thế nào để duy trì thành công này? Traoré đã chuẩn bị cho tương lai bằng cách đầu tư vào giáo dục và cơ sở hạ tầng, như trường học mới và giếng nước sâu. Ông cũng đang mở rộng sản phẩm sang nước sốt cà chua hữu cơ, một bước đi thông minh để đáp ứng nhu cầu thị trường hiện đại. Tôi tin rằng đây là cách để đảm bảo di sản của ông tiếp tục phát triển. Bạn cũng có thể làm điều tương tự. Hãy nghĩ về cách bạn có thể xây dựng nền tảng vững chắc cho những dự án hoặc ước mơ của mình, dù là tiết kiệm tiền, học kỹ năng mới hay kết nối với người khác. Đây không chỉ là câu chuyện của Traoré, mà là lời nhắc nhở rằng mỗi chúng ta đều có tiềm năng tạo ra ảnh hưởng. Vào ngày 04/08/2025, khi tôi viết những dòng này, làng của Musa đang chuẩn bị cho lễ kỷ niệm 1 năm thành công của nhà máy, với kế hoạch mới các nhà đầu tư quốc tế. Sự phấn khích trong không khí là điều không thể bỏ qua, và tôi cảm thấy đây là thời điểm để chúng ta cùng nhau hành động. Hãy chia sẻ câu chuyện này với bạn bè của bạn. Bạn có thể đăng nó lên mạng xã hội hoặc kể lại trong bữa tối gia đình. Thả một lượt thích nếu bạn thấy cảm hứng, để lại bình luận về cách bạn muốn thay đổi cộng đồng của mình, và nhấn nút đăng ký để không bỏ lỡ những hành trình truyền cảm hứng tiếp theo. Đây là cơ hội của bạn để trở thành một phần của làn sóng thay đổi. Đừng để nó trôi qua. Hãy cùng nhau biến thế giới này thành nơi tốt đẹp hơn, bắt đầu từ hôm nay.
Payoff. Closing. Have you ever wondered if a story like this could change how you see your life and community? Let's reflect on the journey we've just walked. From the parched fields of Burkina Faso, where Musa and thousands of farmers once languished in poverty, to today, August 4th, 2025, when their village glows with new homes, children's laughter, and a tomato factory shining like a beacon of hope. Captain Traoré didn't just build a plant, he built a legacy, a vivid proof that even in the harshest adversity, people can create change if they unite and persevere. Are you ready to bring this lesson into your life? To me, this is more than a tale to retell. It's a call to action, and you'll want to explore how to apply it right now. Let's recap the highlights. First, the tomato plant created 300 jobs, turning farmers like Musa from manual laborers into skilled workers earning steady incomes, with product value jumping fivefold from 500 to 2,500 CFA francs per crate. The village economy boomed, exporting over 10,000 crates to neighboring countries and Europe, yielding significant profits. But beyond that, it transformed society. Kids returned to school, women like Aicha joined the workforce, and a new generation began dreaming of bright futures. I feel proud hearing Musa's eldest son, once a dropout farmer,
now in 7th grade aspiring to be an engineer, and young girls aiming to be entrepreneurs. These achievements, sparked by Traoré, shine because he credits the community. A lesson in humility and teamwork I believe anyone can learn. The
biggest takeaway is the power of unity and perseverance. Traoré proved no one can do it alone. Every villager, from Musa with his first tomato crate to Fatoumata with her small plot, contributed to this miracle. His persistence, despite broken machines or trader pressure, inspired them to overcome challenges. I think this is something any community, whether in the US or elsewhere, can adopt. You could start by teaming up with neighbors to tackle a local issue, maybe cleaning a park or supporting a small project. A small step can spark a wave of change, just as Traoré did. This story also suggests turning adversity into opportunity. In Burkina Faso, barren land was a barrier, but Traoré made tomatoes an asset, opening doors to global markets. You can apply this. Look at your challenges, be it financial or personal, and turn them into motivation. I once struggled starting my own project, but with learning and patience, I found success. Traoré teaches us there are no absolute limits. Just try and don't quit. But how to sustain this success? Traoré prepared for the future by investing in education and infrastructure, like a new school and deep well. He's expanding into organic tomato sauce, a smart move for modern markets. I believe this ensures his legacy grows. You can do the same. Build a solid foundation for your projects or dreams, whether by saving money, learning skills, or connecting with others. This isn't just Traoré's story. It's a reminder we all have potential to impact. As I write this on August 4th, 2025, Musa's village prepares to celebrate the plant's first anniversary, planning to invite international investors. The excitement is undeniable, and I feel this is the moment for us to act together. Share this story with friends, post it on social media, or tell it at a family dinner. Drop a like if you're inspired, leave a comment on how you'd change your community, and hit subscribe to not miss more inspiring journeys. This is your chance to join a wave of change. Don't let it pass. Let's make the world better, starting today.